All right, well, I've not been on for quite some time, and I decided, well, what video should I record today? Then I recently had issues with our old neighbors because, well, I'm just going to tell you the story. How about I just tell it from the very beginning? When we had our new neighbors come in about 2 years ago, we thought they'd be good neighbors. We thought that, they'd be very reasonable. They would at least try to do their best to protect their property and, not try to, I guess, try to do anything stupid or aggressive. Well, we learned that for the first year, they did nothing wrong. But as they got settled in, they started doing very aggressive and very stupid behavior, as I have already said. They have. The first thing I want to point out is this. They were not very respectful. They did not care about anyone and anyone else's property. They were basically entitled. I don't know. That's the best way I can explain it to you. It was bad to the point where cops have been called multiple times, where I have had to call people because they won't listen. And, well, this story, people would go, well, it's all bad. Well, yeah, but recently, after some months of building up to this event, they finally have a verdict. And now stuff has happened. And now new neighbors are moving in. So I'm going to get you guys off the hook of what the hell happened in the last 3 months. So the last 3 months, before that, I was just going to talk about the build-up. Basically, these guys, this family has been constantly doing things they shouldn't have been doing, and they just didn't care. So honestly, cops have been called multiple times. They've been told, hey, you can't do that because it violates your terms of service on the house. They don't care. They just really didn't care. They didn't take care of their lawn. They didn't take care of their backyard. They didn't take care of anything that wasn't their family. So their house, they didn't take care of. Their lawn, they didn't take care of. Their neighbors, they didn't care for. It was basically all them, and they were the kings and queens of that neighborhood. Well, everyone knows me in my neighborhood, in my small town, for being very, very judgmental on balance. And they basically just ruined the balance of the whole neighborhood. Not only that, but they basically crowned themselves as a dictatorship of the town. They just didn't care. If you didn't do something they liked, they'd yell at you and sue you for it. Yes, they've actually tried to sue people for it. They've even tried to somehow try to sue me for something that I've done, even though their actions have caused their downfall. It's just a long story. But that's why you're here, right? Well, let's explain it from the very top. The first thing that they did was on July 4th, their second year here, they had launched fireworks. Instead of launching them away from houses, they launched them directly at neighborhood houses. And they were laughing about it, and they were yelling at people when people were walking by. We didn't know this at the time, but they were yelling discriminatory remarks. They were yelling various amounts of very hate speech, all that type of stuff. It was just unreal. And I didn't know this at the time because I was away and I was at my grandparents' house my 16th year, my 16th year, when I was 16. When I was 17, on the other hand, this is when everything it came because I was there. And I witnessed this personally because I was with my girlfriend shooting off bottle rockets, fireworks, when we heard yelling coming from the other house. We're like, what the hell is that? I walk around and I see the neighbors basically yelling at this poor old couple because of something they remarked. I don't even remember what. I probably don't even know what. But they were yelling at the old couple. And honestly, I think this is the first time that I've just decided to put my foot down on them. Because no one else was doing anything. Why would I be any different? right? Well, I was different. I am different. Everyone in my neighborhood and town knows I do not like something that completely shifts balance. We had a perfect balance in our tiny town of like 55 people, and this couple comes in and just ruins it. So knowing me, I immediately did something about it. I walked up to the couple and I said, "What's going on here?" They said, "Well, this old couple just told us to screw off." And then I looked at the old couple, and the first thing they said were, "We were just trying to tell them not to fire fireworks at the houses of the neighborhood because we live on the opposite side of the street, and we were very worried that our house would be set on fire." And the couple just laughed at them. They didn't even have any remorse for this. And honestly, I just felt bad for the old couple. There's not much I could have done other than, I guess, tell the cops, because there's nothing I would have done that would have made them change their position on what they were doing. They knew what they were doing was wrong, but they chose to continue anyway. So there's not really much I can do other than call the cops. So we did that, and the cops did virtually nothing because they were not breaking any rules, but yet violating your terms of service on your house is not a rule. So honestly, I'm very surprised that this government and everything that we've done so far has managed to succeed. I'm very shocked. I don't know how we're doing it. But that's the first time. The second incident that we had in our neighborhood was about 2 months later, not even 3 months, 2 months later, where the same couple, when they went out for dinner in the town, they were very, very rude and disrespectful to one of the waiters that was treating them with food. And the first thing that I heard was, I heard one of them, I don't know which one of them, said a racist slur. I'm not joking. It was probably the husband, but I don't think the wife said it. I think the husband said it. He said a racial slur to the guy, and I was like, what the hell did I just hear him say? This was the first time that I threatened to get physical with somebody. So I went over to him. I said, what the hell are you doing? You can't just go out here yelling that type of thing and expect nobody to answer. You can't just yell a racial slur at somebody. He says, so it's my God-given right. And I said, I have a God-given right to kick your fucking ass. How about that shit? That's a God-given right. This couple was very, very cocky. This couple was just unreal, entitled, thinking they owned everything, thinking that they could take everybody on, thinking that they could do whatever they wanted and not have any consequences whatsoever. Well, this was the time I was ready to rumble this time. I was not going to let them do this anymore. And so I had basically stepped forward one time. I did not step forward twice, once. It was to see if I tested their boundaries. And the funny thing was, he stepped back one. He knew what he was doing was wrong. He was choosing to do it anyway. If that doesn't tell you enough how much of an asshole these neighbors were, their poor kids had to listen to this. They have kids. At that point, I was like, why? You literally shouted a racial slur at a poor waiter while you have kids next to you. I said, what type of father are you? You can't even treat your kids with the proper dignity that you have as a father. How the hell are you going to do anything here? Everyone's going to look at you like you guys are evil, pure evil. And honestly, seeing what they would do later on, I wasn't wrong. You'll be surprised what they do on my 18th, on the 18th year old, when I'm 18 for 4th of July. Oh boy. This is when everything went wrong. I've already posted, it's like details in Chicago, like that funny meme where people still are angry about. I don't know why you guys are angry about it. It's a fucking joke. Calm down. Anyway, on that year, what they did the exact same thing they did when I was 17. 1 year back, they did the exact same thing, except for this time, they were physically throwing these types of tiny dynamite, firecrackers. They physically shot bottle rockets and fireworks at people's houses. And I was like, what the hell? They didn't launch them in the air and wait for them to come down. Oh no, they physically tried to aim it at people's houses. Luckily, their aims were shit. They couldn't hit anything. I bet you they couldn't even hit a fucking wooden plank that was right in front of their face. If that doesn't tell you everything. They were probably very drunk and very stupid. So it was fine until my girlfriend had called me and told me that she thought the house was being attacked. And so I came home, and this is when I got back to the backyard. I saw nothing, but I saw the fireworks and I made the funny joke, right? I go back in the house, and then it happened. It hit the house, and it caused a tiny fire in our front lawn. Now, keep in mind, I still do live with my mother, but she doesn't exactly come home as often as I'd like. So I'm honestly on my own for the most part. And this scared me. This truly did scare me. But as everyone that has been around me knows, my fear turns to anger very quickly. I become fearless once I know that fear is not really warranted. It becomes anger. So I think you can see where this is going. So as I put out the fire, by the way, do not put out a fire with a fire extinguisher on grass. I'm telling you now. I've seen someone do it. Don't do it. It is a horrible idea. Use water because it helps the grass. Anyway, after I had poured water on the fire, it was probably about the size of my hand. So it wasn't that big. It took like 1 bucket's worth of water and the fire was out. Due to that quick reaction, my girlfriend was basically terrified out of her mind. And so I said, you know what? I'm going over there. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of being nice. I'm tired of being very polite and respectful with these guys. I'm tired of just everything these guys have done this year. I'm tired of the years of stupidity that these guys have constantly put on themselves. This is going to end, and it's going to end now. And it did at that time, because here's why. I had something planned as a backup in case it happened again. And when it did, I used the backup. People consider me as a genius because of how well I can predict people and their actions. I knew the moment I walked over there, they were not going to be very happy because this is going to be a very, very terrifying experience for both sides, because this was no longer messing around. As I was walking over, and the older gentleman who was sitting with them, and I figured out that he was the father of the guy, he was really respectful. I was like, holy crap. And so I knew I wasn't going to target him. He's not even involved in this. I'm not even going to get him involved. But I'm getting the couple that was there involved because they were the ones that just didn't care. Well, guess what? Now they will care, because what I said and what I did after that, you'll understand what I did. I walked up to the couple. I said, what the hell are you doing? And they said, we're just shooting bottle rockets. They said, yeah, you're shooting fucking bottle rockets at our houses. We just had a fire that nearly spread to our house. Do you understand that you've basically tried to cause collateral damage with those, right? You understand that. Like, we didn't do that. I said, oh, funny thing. We have a door cam, right? We have a door cam, by the way. It recorded the husband firing a bottle rocket at the house and yelling something like, yeah, you stupid fucking kids. Like, wow. I just was unreal. He knew what he was doing. And he played it off. And once I had gotten that footage from mom, I went to town. I said, you know what? You lied to me. You said it was an accident, but when I looked at the video cam footage, it shows a completely different thing. It shows that you physically shot at her house, knew what you were doing, and yelled some very, very mean things while you were shooting those bottle rockets at her house. And he says, I didn't do none of those things. I said, oh, yeah, well, this video that mom got otherwise tells me a different story. That was the first time that he tried to apologize. I said, no, this is done. We have warned you for 2 years already that if this continues, we are getting the authorities. And I said, you failed to listen, so we are not going to listen to you. You do not own this town. This town had a balance. This town had a hierarchy. And you came in and you toppled it. Now we have to rebuild that hierarchy because of how bad you've treated people in this town. And so after that, I had called the police. I had told them everything. I told them I had video evidence of them trying to burn down our house, basically, and doing all that. Kaylee stayed inside. She's basically the fake name for Kay. Kaylee is for her girlfriend, so don't worry about it. That's not her real name. Don't worry. But after the cops came, I told them everything, and this was basically the reason why after that point you hadn't heard much from me, because it's just been a long few months. That's why you've barely heard anything but, faction fights. You've not even heard Storytime because a story was already being written, right? Story was already being coming into fray. Well, guess what? Now I actually have a story to do. So everything was not all bad. I guess the first thing that they did wrong was obvious. Don't worry, I'm looking at something right now. But yeah, after this happened and July 5th, came along, they were very upset. And what I didn't know was that the couple received a lot of mail that told them that they were going to get evicted. If they hadn't cleaned up their act in a month, they were going to get evicted. Well, that month didn't come by because they managed to get evicted in 5 days. What did they do, you ask? Well, what did they do? They came over to my house, threatened to break in, and hurt me and my girlfriend. That is something you don't do in my family. That is basically a death sentence in my family. It don't matter who you are. That is a physical death sentence. So I knew what I was getting into. I knew that he was basically trespassing on a private property and threatening to break in while the door camera was literally catching it because he's not very smart. I came out with a knife and I said, first things first. You see that door cam right there? It just caught everything you just said. And immediately that dude was like, oh, like, bruh, we told you a few nights before that there was a door cam right there. Did you really not listen? I said, this is why we know you don't care. Well, that basically, it still didn't stop them from being angry, but it really did hamper they wanted to take me to court. I said, really? You're not going to win that. I said, you are not winning that case. I'm sorry. You are not winning that case. I said, after everything you've done, after all the complaints, it'll be you that are going to jail. It turns out we had talked with a lawyer because it actually got that far, and he told me that due to how many problems that have been reported, he would have initially gotten 3 months on probation. But now that he's threatened safety, now he's actually could have gotten jail time. He could have gotten jail time. And the wife, I don't know what the wife, I don't think she really was that bad. But the fact that she still supported him, even though he was an ass to everybody around him, yeah, basically a male Karen and a poor wife that has to deal with the male Karen. I feel more bad for her than I am upset with the guy because honestly, no one was dealing with him. The wife couldn't because what would she do? Tell him to stop? I mean, he could easily leave her and the kids to fend for themselves. And he's the guy who's making all the money in their family. That basically, for her, is a virtual death sentence because she can't work like he can. She can't work the same amount of jobs or the same amount of time as he can because unlike him, she has some sort of mental disability. So it's very hard for her to do the same things he can. And this is why I want everyone to understand you don't assume that everyone that's with them is against you as well. Because she was not against me. Because she knew what her husband was doing, but she couldn't do anything about it. And honestly, I don't blame her because the way her husband acted, it was just why? She never got drunk, and I think I knew why. It was basically because he was in control. He couldn't let her do anything without his supervision. And that is when, on July 10th, matter of fact, July 10th is when the government finally decided to step in. They said, listen, you've basically threatened people. You nearly got hurt yourselves in the process of threatening people. And now you want to sue them because you stepped on their property and you threatened them instead. They said, yeah, no, you can't. You're not winning this court case. They said if they want, they can sue you for everything you've got, considering what evidence they have. My mother chose not to sue them, but the government was still going to punish them, and he did get punished. He got 8 years in county jail, and he is now on for a bond out of jail. If he had not gone to jail, he would have had a bond of $300,000 because of all the shit he's pulled years past. There's nothing he can do to get out of the hole he's dug himself in. He's basically screwed. He's lost his job. He's now basically possibly in jail right now. And the poor wife now has to take care of the kids by herself because of what the husband was doing. I feel bad for her because she had to move out. She couldn't pay for that house anymore. So now she's living by herself, and I don't even know where she's living anymore. She could be homeless. Keep that in mind, people. If you are dependent on somebody, make sure that dependent does not screw themselves over. But after that, we got a brand new couple. They're an older couple, and they're in their mid-50s, mid-60s, possibly. They are very calm, and unlike the neighbors past them, they actually care about a natural balance in the neighborhood. They're very nice, they're very polite. I've already talked to them. They're really good people. They donate to charity whenever they could. They donate their own time, even though they're both still working. They donate their physical time and money, hard-earned money, to help others. If that doesn't tell you how good people these are, they like to bake cookies for the neighborhood and have parties based upon 4th of July. They like to have parties. They invite everyone they can over, and they allow people to congregate and have a fun time with one another rather than dividing the neighborhood based upon a handful of discriminatory or things that the old couple used to do. So the story does end pretty well. I don't know what happened to the poor wife that was put into the situation, but I can tell you right now, the husband is probably in jail due to what shit he pulled. That grass that was burnt has rehealed because it's August, and that was like 4 weeks ago. So it was a decent time ago. Our grass is healed. Kaylee's finally okay. It's just been, the last month has just been crazy. So story time with CodeeVA is obviously real. This is just some hard hitting stuff. You can't make it up even if you tried. It's terrifying. I guess the one thing that I was a little worried about was if they actually managed to get in. Because if they got in, that night could have ended really badly for anyone. It could have been anyone. Luckily for me, I was I would have been a defender, and I was a much bigger defender. The couple themselves were not very big, but they still had weapons. It doesn't matter how big you are. Having weapons is a danger, but if you have a larger defender that has a weapon, that's even worse. Because now I could put a lot of force into it because I'm 200 pounds and I'm 6'4", so I have the bigger mass. While the couple, I don't even know, the dude was tiny. I'll keep that in realistic. He was a little tiny guy. The wife was even tinier. And the poor wife had to deal with this. The wife was standing there like she knew what was possibly going to happen. She just stood there with her hands like this because she knew what would happen if she had a weapon. So I wasn't going to get her involved in this because obviously she doesn't have a weapon. So, yeah, it sucks to be the guy that you have to do. It sucks to be like this. It sucks to have to be the person in your neighborhood to completely just wipe slate clean. The cops couldn't do it. The government couldn't do it. It's me that had to finally step and put the foot on the ground. What the fuck does foot mean? Anyway, I had to put my foot on the ground and I had to tell them what was going to happen because they would not listen. And, well, he got hit the hard way. I don't know if he's going to be the same if he ever gets out, but if he does come back, he is going to understand that I'm not going to be here. Me and Kaylee aren't going to be here. We're probably going to be out buying a house. So we'll probably have a house by then due to what both of our jobs are. She wants to be a nurse. She wants to be a nurse practitioner while I'm going to be a teacher. So both of us combined will have plenty of money to just buy a simple, nice little house for us. We don't need anything big. We just need a nice house. Well, not even a nice house, just a normal house would be fine with me. But you see, that's the thing. He could have easily avoided this. We let him get away with it for 2 years. We let him get away with it for 2 solid years. And now when he finally got in trouble, he threatens violence. And that's why he was so hated. He threatened violence when nothing went his way. He was very mean, rude, and aggressive, and threatened violence any way he could. It was just, I can't even explain to you the full story because it's just so unbelievable. Even I don't believe it still. And I was the one who experienced some of this, and I still don't believe it. So if I don't believe it, how do you expect me to think that you are going to believe it, right? Well, I guess I'm done here. It's almost about 30 minutes now since I've started the stream. If you guys like these stories or even care about the story at all and understand what you've gone through, you can just put a comment down below. I'm not even going to ask you to like, not even going to ask you to subscribe. I'm not even going to ask you to do all that. Because unlike most YouTubers, I'm not out there baiting for likes and shit. I do this because it is an actual story. This has actually happened. I don't need likes. I don't need notification. I don't need a lot of people to see this to realize that it's real. A real story does not care about your feelings. And that is why my stories are going to be real. They're not going to care about your feelings towards them. Well, in case you guys like it, tell me in the comments if you've got any suggestions for faction fights or anything of the sort. Please put suggestions down in the comments. And I've also been creating a story with a handful of people for a YouTuber by the name of Dreshnall, I don't know how to say it, but I'm saying it my way because I don't know any different. My narrative. It is my narrative. But we are working with Dreshnall to create a nice little DDLC video where we're naming it DDLC Trapped in Reality. Basically, me and a friend of mine are going to be characters in DDLC, and we are just going to be doing all that. I'll explain it more if you guys actually want a video of this. I'm not going to force you guys to listen to it. I'll only do it if you guys actually want that video, or people in Discord, if they want me to make that video, I'll do it. Just tell me what video you want me to make and I'll do it. Because unlike most YouTubers, I actually take responses from people. Hell, most of the ideas of my videos are taken by people on my Discord. If you do not know what I am, I'm basically, this is my Discord name. Yes, that is my Discord name. Yeah, this is actually my Discord name, Sussy God. I had to change it from CodeeVA because I'm starting to lean less towards voice acting because I now have another job I'm signing up for. I'm going to be a security guard. I'm not going to tell you where. I'm not going to tell you how I managed to get the job. That's all I'm telling you. So I'm going to be a security guard. That's it. That's all you know. No, not a night guard like FNAF. No, no, no. That's not the job I get. No, no, no. But that job pays me more, and it's not only that, but I do get a much, much more, I guess you could say, more benefits. I have much more benefits because with voice acting, you only get a handful of benefits. With my security job, you get like personal fraud, all this type of benefits, because if someone tries to say that you've done something and they didn't do it, they themselves can get sued for fraud, and they'd have to give me money as a result. So that is one of the major reasons why security guards are in decent supply, because people have been trying to sue them for a long time, even though the people that try to go on property are the ones that cause the problems in the first place. But I digress. Guys, like this, I'm going to be going for now. I don't know whenever I'll make a video, but when I do make a video, I would like you guys to watch it if you like this. You don't have to, but it would be very nice to see people actually respond to these. And I will see you guys all the next time.